love real estate. How to retire with real estate investing. That's the topic of the day. Hi, my name is Jessica. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Let's talk about real estate. So far, in all of my videos, I've mostly focused on investing in the stock market, but real estate is another powerful vehicle to grow your net worth relatively quickly and achieve financial independence if that is your goal. I'm going to walk you through step by step on what to do if you want to get started as a real estate investor. Everything I share on this channel is based on personal experience. So the things that I'm going to share with you, things that I always share with you, are the things that I personally practice. I know they work. The basic principles work. When it comes to real estate, it's very much market dependent. Some markets, it's a lot easier to find good deals than others, but nonetheless, all the principles are the same. So what I'm going to share with you are basic principles and some steps that are critical. They will work for you regardless of where you are. And of course, with any investment, you want to do your homework. You want to make sure it's the right thing for you. You want to make sure that you do your due diligence before investing your money in anything. There are so many great reasons to get into real estate investing if you're still on the fence. First big reason is that the property that you're going to buy, it's going to continue to appreciate in value for the most part. I mean, market does go up and down, but for the most part, if your strategy is to hold long term, which is what I do, if you hold long term, eventually real estate goes up. So your property is appreciating in value. It's going to be worth more than what you paid for. And second big reason is positive cash flow. So when you rent out a property, the tenant pays you the rent after you pay for all of your expenses, whatever money you're left with. That's your positive cash flow. That's your income. And finally, your mortgage is being paid off by the tenant as well. So those are three pretty big reasons to get into real estate. As much as I love real estate, I know that it's not for everybody, which is why I wanted to make this video today. There are 3 stages to work through before you decide to buy a property. That's what we're going to talk about today. I strongly suggest not skipping any of these stages. It's absolutely critical that you work through these stages for yourself. So the first stage is assessment. Do you have what it takes to become a real estate investor? What does that mean? First thing you need to decide is, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to become a real estate investor? Is that because you want to become financially independent? You want to be able to quit your job and just have enough income coming in from your rental properties every single month? Is it because you want to have more free time to spend with your family? So figure out what your why is. The reason why this is really, really important is that when things get a little challenging, knowing what your why is will keep you on track. Overall, real estate is not that difficult, but of course, like anything, it's going to have its challenges. So you have to know that you have the time and temperament to be able to handle that. That's the other thing. Make sure that you have the time to do this and that you have the temperament to be able to deal with tenants and so on. Of course, you don't have to deal with tenants yourself. You can always hire a property manager, but personally, I suggest managing your property, especially your first couple of properties yourself, because you really want to learn. You want to learn what to do. You want to learn what to look for. The skills you're going to gain by owning your first rental property and subsequent rental properties are going to be invaluable. And also, eventually, if you do hire a property manager, you're going to have to manage that property manager. So you want to make sure you know what you're doing. So when you do hire somebody, you know how to manage them, you know what to look for. And the third thing is, are you willing to put in the effort? So willing to put in the time, willing to put in the effort, and also, are you willing to learn? You can learn anything, really. If you're willing to learn, you will do great at this. One of the things that I recommend to people, if you've never been in real estate, if you've never owned a rental property, a way to test the waters could be bringing in a tenant in your home where you live. So if you have a basement or if you have a spare room, try to rent out a part of your home where you live, and that will give you somewhat of an idea of whether or not you would like to become a landlord, or if you like the idea of looking for somebody, screening a candidate, and having somebody in your property and so on. So it'll give you a little bit of an idea. Although it's not the same, having somebody in your home, especially if you're renting a room, it's very different than having somebody in a rental property somewhere else. So, but ideally, if you have like a separate basement suite or something, renting that out, that would be ideal. So if you have the opportunity to do that, try to do that and see how you like it. It's very important for you to go through this assessment. It's really a self-assessment to see if it's something you want to do. Once you've done that, the second stage is preparation. So if you've decided that real estate is for you, you have the time and the willingness and all of those things, and now it's time for you to start preparing. The first thing in preparation is making sure you have good credit, because as you go out there, start looking for rental properties, you're going to need a mortgage, or you're going to need loans. So you need good credit in order to do that. And if you don't have good credit, just set that as a goal to improve your credit. It takes a little bit of time, a little bit of effort. You can definitely improve your credit score in a very short period of time. And the second preparation item would be down payment. So you're going to need some type of a down payment to purchase a rental property. If you're in Canada, that's 20%. And if you're in the US, that's anywhere from 15 to 25% to purchase a rental property. So you're going to need that down payment. So you want to start saving your money and start looking at your current expenses and see if you could lower your expenses and save money more quickly and save that down payment as quickly as you can. And also look at your income, look at increasing your income. So if you reduce your expenses, increase your income, you're going to be able to save that money a lot quicker. Income is a line item on its own. Make sure that you have sufficient income. That's what banks look for. When you go out there to look for a mortgage for your rental property, you're going to need a certain amount of income per year in order to qualify for the mortgage. Banks look for stable, predictable income. It doesn't even matter how much money you have as a down payment. Let's say even if you have 35, 40, 50% down payment, you still need a stable, predictable income. I mean, there are many things you want to prep, but those are the three key items that you need to prep. That's your credit, good credit, and your down payment, as well as your income. As you can see, there's a lot of things to prepare, but that's okay. Take your time. If you know that's your goal, you want to get into real estate, even if it takes you a year or 2 years, it doesn't matter. Take your time, set your goals, make sure you save up, make sure you do what it takes, and that you're fully prepared before you get into the final step, which is implementation. Implementation basically means now you are ready to look for your property. Decide on how much you want to spend. That will depend on how much down payment you have as well, and how much mortgage you qualify for. So decide on how much money you want to spend on this rental property. And the second thing to do as part of your implementation process is to get a good real estate agent. Some real estate investors believe in looking for deals themselves. They want to find private deals so that they don't have to pay real estate fees and so on and so forth. That's not my strategy for a couple of different reasons. At least that's not my strategy at this time. I don't have the time or the interest in going out there and looking for properties. And I work through a good real estate agent, and that has worked for me. At this point in my life, I prefer to keep things as simple as possible. If I can get other people to help me do some of these things, and if I could get a good real estate agent to go out there and look for things, I'd much rather do that. Of course, you want to make sure that you're looking at these properties, make sure that you're not settling for something that is not on your agenda. Make sure it's the right property for you, but at least somebody else can do the legwork for you. If you have the time and interest in looking for your own properties, by all means, that's a great strategy as well. Again, it's a very personal choice. And if you have a good network, that's the other thing you're going to need if you're going to go out there and look for your own properties, you're going to need a good network. So if you've got good networking skills, you've got the time, and you want to go out there and look for something for yourself, then by all means. But like I said, this is just something that works for me, so that's what I recommend. And it also depends on the market. In some markets, there's a lot of inventory and there's a lot to choose from, while in other markets that are hot markets, it's a lot more difficult to find the right type of property. And once you find a property of interest, make sure you analyze the numbers. This is very, very, very important. Once you've found the property, it's at the right price, and you like what you see, make sure you analyze your numbers. What does that mean? In the most basic terms, you want to look at the area that the property's in. And that's important because you want to do some research on what the rents are like in that area. If it's an area that you can get a lot higher rents, you are going to get a lot more cash flow. But if it's an area where maybe the income levels are a little bit lower, depending on the demographics, then there's only so much rent you'll be able to get. So you want to look at what area the property's in, what's the average rent that you can get for a similar type of property. And then you take all of the potential expenses that you're going to have. Those expenses include, of course, your mortgage payment, your taxes, your insurance, maintenance costs. Take all of those costs and subtract them from your rent, the rent that you think you could get for that property. And whatever's left over, that's your cash flow. And you always want to have positive cash flow. That's my personal rule. You never want to get into a property where your expenses are higher than your rent. Basically, what that means is every month you're going to be out of pocket. So you're paying money to own this property. That's not what you want. You always want to have a positive cash flow. How much positive? That really is dependent upon the market. So do your homework. Positive cash flow. That's what you want. Once you've done all of that, now you are ready to purchase the property. Once you've gone through all of that, a good real estate agent will walk you through all of that. Once you purchase the property, now you're ready to rent it out. So you want to make sure that it's rent ready. This is a really important step. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't pay attention to this. You want to get your property rent ready. What does that mean? In most basic terms, does it look like something that you want to live in? That's what I always ask. When I look at a property, I ask myself, could I live here? Is it clean and pleasant? Is it something that I could call home? If the answer is no, then I don't rent it. Because personally, that's just my thing. I know not everybody's like that. If I feel like I can't live there, then I can't in good conscience sell it to the tenant. There are some basic things you can do to make it attractive and make it pleasant. It could be something as simple as a coat of paint or some really nice window coverings. Those are a couple of things that I tend to do. If you are more of a handy person, which I'm not, you might be able to get a fixer-upper and put in some time, put in a little bit of money and make it really nice. The thing with fixer-uppers is you can get a lot better deal up front. So you can save a lot of money and put in a little bit of that money that you saved, put that in to fix the property up, make it look nice, paint it, and so on. And you can get a lot more rent for that. And you'll also get a good quality tenants. If you have some beat up looking shack, you're going to attract that type of a tenant. If you want a good long-term tenant, your property has to look good. So those are some of the basics. I mean, I can talk about this stuff all day. Like I said at the beginning, there's a lot more to it than just this, but what I'm sharing with you here is the absolute basic things that you need to do. If you could work through these stages, you will be in a really good place. If this is something you're interested in, set yourself a goal. Even if you don't have the things that you need, even if you don't have the credit or you don't have the down payment or if you don't have the right amount of income, you can set that as a goal, give yourself a year or 2 years. Once you really get to that, once you have your first rental property and you're successful at it, it'll be all worth it. It's an excellent way to diversify your portfolio. So having money in the stock market as well as having money in the real estate, you are well diversified and it's so much fun. And there you have it. If you found this video useful, if you enjoyed it, please share it with your friends, share it on your social media, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you next week.